Now we're going to talk a little bit about history. For the cd command, there is a special command called pushd that enables you cd into a directory as well as show the history of directories that you have cd'd into. Alright, so I will say pushd slash and I press enter and I see that my history shows that I have been in the home in my own home directory, and before that in the slash temp directory, and before that in my own home directory, and before that in the downloads directory. Okay, it is so that's the history. Now if I wanted to just run the last cd command according to this history, I will just use the popd command. Okay. Popd takes me back the last command, the last cd command, right? And if I wanted to do it again, I pop d again, and it take me back to the penultimate cd command, right? So that's push d and pop d and how you can work with history using them. Now, cd does not hold a monopoly on history commands. The history command itself shows you a history of all the commands you've typed as this user, all the commands you've typed as this user, going up to about 1000 as as specified by your hist size file. We'll look at the environmental variables later that determine how many can be stored, but the default on Ubuntu systems is 1000. That means that if I have typed 1000 commands, I would be able to view all of them in history. If I have typed 1500 commands, I would be able to see that I typed 1500 commands by the number before the last command, but I will only be able to use the last 1000 commands because the previous commands have been edged out, right? All right, so if I type the command, the history command, and I want to use one of the commands used there, I could, for example, I wanted to use this command 557, push d home Martin super downloads. Right? I just type exclamation mark 557, and I press enter, and I am taken, and that command runs. Okay, it's a cd command, so it took me where I wanted to go. Now, it doesn't have to be a cd command, it could be any command as long as you specify the number before the command after an exclamation mark. It runs the command. Okay, so that's the history. Now, an easier way to run history commands is just use the up arrow key. If I This is useful for going back just a few commands. All right, so I just use the up arrow key and I'm going back. You can see these commands are commands that we just typed recently. Right, and I can use the down arrow key to go forward, coming back to where we are right now. Right, so the up arrow key takes me back in the history of the commands of the in this session, and the down arrow key takes me forward. Right, now another thing I could do is type two exclamation marks, and that will just run the last command again. That's all. Just run the last command again. My last command was a clear, so it just cleared the screen. Right. So, and last for the history is that I could type an exclamation mark and a command and puts after it a number of letters, and that will say run the last command that has this text pattern in it. Right, so I press enter and I get the pushd command again because that is the last command that has pus as the first few letters. Right, so that's the history command. Now, the last thing I'm going to take a look at here is tab completion. Let me clear this. Now if I want to go into my download file, I could say cd and type downloads, all right, and press enter, and it would work, right? But I could, instead of doing that, I could go into the same CD file by saying CD, pressing DOW, and using the tab button to complete the name of the directory or file that I want to CD into, or whatever I want to do with it, right? So the tab will complete the directory name, so you don't make errors, and so it's faster. So what if I typed tab do? All right, now I know already that there is a documents directory here and a downloads directory here. So do doesn't is not unique to one directory. So if it was here and I typed tab, it would just beep, and I typed tab again, it would show me the options. The options, show me which the directories that begin with capital D and lowercase o. So I could now choose which one I wanted. I would type a W and then tab again, and it would complete it so that I can move to my downloads directory. Okay. So that's tab completion. It's very useful for making for long file names or long directory names, so that you do not make errors and so that you are fast while you type. All right, so let's take a few questions.